Hey everyone, Steven here from Radolescence and welcome back to another fragrance review. Thank you for watching. And today I'm going to be reviewing a fragrance by Laura Biagiotti, and the fragrance is called Roma Uomo or Roma per Uomo. So here's the bottle. This one was released in either 1994 or 1995, and they have not mentioned who the perfumer for this company is. Now, the parent company for Laura Biagiotti is Procter & Gamble, same thing as Lacoste, and they currently have 27 fragrances in their online catalog, according to Fragrantica. Now, the house has been out since 1972, but it wasn't until 1982 that they branched out into fragrances and made their first fragrance. Now, this one being released a few years later, 94 and 95, currently has 4 flankers. So they do have 4 or 5 different versions of this. I know they have a Misterio version, they have an Essenza version, an Aqua version, and a blue version, which was released just last year in 2014. So they still are making flankers of this one. So if you're looking to purchase the original as a consumer, just make sure it says nothing more than Roma Uomo on the front of the box. Now, this fragrance, as you can probably tell by the name in the bottle, was made to appeal to the elegant and seductive men that can only be found in the eternal city of Rome. So I'm going to let you guys know what I think of this one next. Let's take a look at the presentation. So on the box you have the name of the company, name of the fragrance, you have the size and concentration at the bottom. On the very bottom you have the UPC code and the serial number located right above that. On the back you have the ingredients, not much going on the sides, and then on the very top you have the Laura Biagiotti logo. As far as the bottle goes, Laura Biagiotti was always a very huge fan of architecture and buildings, so this of course resembles the iconic monuments that you would find in Rome. Name of the fragrance, name of the company, a sticker at the bottom with the serial number, some more pertinent information which should coincide with the ones found on the box, and then nothing going on at the back. Orange cap. Some people would think the bottle looks quite kitschy. I think it is a little bit tacky, but I think it looks kind of cool. It stands out. The atomizer gives you a very good distribution relative to the concentration, and that was a presentation for Roma per Uomo by Laura Biagiotti. So what does this fragrance smell like? Well, upon initial application, you get a lot of citrus and you get a lot of sweet notes. Now, Fragrantica and Base Notes both have 2 very, very different note breakdowns for this scent. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I smell. In the opening, it's very orangey. Now, I thought that was because of the cap and the color of the bottle and the color of the font, which kind of leads one to think that there may be orange, but on Fragrantica, it only lists bergamot and pink grapefruit. Now, you do get a lot of orange, and tangerine is listed as a note on Base Notes, and I definitely get a lot of orange. Now you take that orange and you combine it with a lot of sweet notes. Base Note says there's vanilla, Fragrantica says there's galbanum, which is a type of resin that gives off a sweet smell. It also has a rather green or viridescent smell as well. And one thing that I do have to attest to is that this one does have somewhat of a green scent. Now Base Note says oak moss, Fragrantica says pine resin. There certainly is a resinous quality to this scent which really stands out. Now, as far as it coming from the benzoin, which also has a vanillic overtone, or the galbanum or the pine resin, that for me is a little hard to discern. But I can definitely say that there is a resinous quality to this scent. Now, in the dry down, it does get a little bit sweeter and there is a noticeable vanilla note. So whether it's coming from the benzoin or a vanilla note in itself, I'm given to assume that it is vanilla because it is quite strong. It definitely gets sweeter as it dries down. Now, despite the fact that it contains pine and oak moss and some rather green and viridescent scents, as I mentioned, it doesn't smell dated or mature in any way. I mean, it does kind of have like a sophisticated appeal. It's not so sweet to the point where it's cloyingly sweet, and that's something that I like about this one. But it definitely doesn't smell dated or mature, and despite the year of release, I think that it's done very well in this scent. Now, I think if I were to purchase this fragrance when it came out in 94, 95, I would have been all over it because it is unique and different, and it does showcase and highlight the note of galbanum, which is a very common note in perfumery, but it's not usually highlighted or given the spotlight the way that it's done in this fragrance. So I think in 94, 95, I would have been all over it. But now, when you look at the wealth of selections in the designer and niche markets, there are so many other fragrances that I think I would rather reach for, and this actually falls kind of within the the same category as Thierry Mugler's Angelman Ultra Zest. They both have kind of like that citrusy, vanillic, sweet, orange creamsicle thing going on. And this one also does have patchouli. I prefer Ultra Zest a little bit better. So I'm just letting you know, there are some other options out there that I would rather reach towards. So back then, if I were to grade it maybe in 95, when it first came out, I would probably give this an 8 out of 10. Now my rating would change a little bit, but I'm letting you guys know this is a really nice fragrance. It is unique, it's different, but when you consider other fragrances that were also released around that same time frame, mid-90s, you think L'Eau de Pour Homme, Angelman by Thierry Mugler, Acqua di Gio. So, there are a lot of iconic fragrances that were released within that time frame. But overall, this is a nice scent. You have the green elements, you have a citrusy appeal to it, orangey, bergamot, grapefruit, and then it dries down to that vanillic, resinous, benzoin, galbanum, even ambery type of a feel. Overall, I think it's a nice scent, and I can see this one getting somebody compliments as well. There are a lot of older gentlemen who can attest to the fact that this one does very, very well, and the women actually really enjoy this one. So I would say if you're looking to target somewhat of an older woman, I think this one would actually work really well for you. So thank you for watching. Last up, we have the rating. First up, we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I ended up giving this scent a 7 out of 10. Like I said, I think that they did really well by taking the note of galbanum and really highlighting it and giving it that praise and appeal that it doesn't normally, get in other fragrances. So I really like what they did here, and that of course increases the uniqueness of the composition. As far as longevity goes, I gave it a 5 out of 10. It is an eau de toilette concentration, so 4 to 6 hours is expected, and I do get somewhere like 3, 4, 5 hours with this fragrance. So I ended up being a little bit generous. I gave it a 5 out of 10. As far as projection goes, I wish it could have been a little bit better. It never really radiates beyond an arm's length. I ended up giving this one a 5 out of 10 as well. With a scent like this one, it's not too sweet to the point that it's going to be cloyingly sweet. So I think I would have preferred a little bit better of a projection from this one, but 5 out of 10 I think is a fair assessment. As far as versatility goes, I ended up giving this one an 8 out of 10. Now, I think this one would work better in the warmer months just because of the performance or lack thereof. Despite the fact that it is targeted for men, that sweetness and the patchouli and the citrus I think could work really well on a woman as well. So I think for the most part this is a unisex scent. And as far as occasions go, the sweetness makes it a good contender for a night out scent. I can definitely wear this casually, it's very affordable, and I can also wear this one in a shirt and tie or in a suit and tie. So as far as occasions go, versatility is on point. And last up, as far as the presentation goes, I already told you guys what I think about that. I can kind of see why some people might think it's kitschy rather than chic. I ended up giving this one a 7 out of 10. And overall, I'm going to give Roma per Uomo by Biagiotti a 6 out of 10. Now, like I said, I think there are other really great selections on both the niche and the designer branches of the fragrance industry. There are a lot of other fragrances that I would reach for, but I can definitely see why this one was such a great fragrance upon initial release, and I still think to this day it's a unique composition. And if you're a fan of fragrances with this balsamic, sweet, orangey nature, I would definitely recommend you check this one out. So there you have it, guys. That was my review of Roma per Uomo by Biagiotti. If you own or have tried this scent, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to rate and subscribe for future videos. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Radolescence. I'll see you guys soon.